And if the O-line is banged up and the third stringers ran them penalties up, as long as we got time, we can target him 21 times. I hope Puka heals and returns soon from an MCL sprain one or two. To have him on your side, the trophy is mine. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dynasty BS show. Really, we are now the Fantasy BS show because we are now going to be talking about redraft in a pretty heavy way now that the season is here and we can just have more fun with it, right? It's week 2 and it's September 12th and we are going to preview week 2. I'm sorry,
Let's go with
how are
it.
you doing?
I'm doing great. You got your boy Smitty Satow over there, Carl Smith. I'm Brian B Arms 2020. You can call me whatever you want, but you know what? For tonight, why don't you just call me Morrissey? Because I love that Smiths intro, bro. This is a Pro Smiths podcast. Way to go, Smitty. I love it. A little cup is a light that will never go out, man. Never go out.
For some reason, it just will never go out.
All right, well, let's kick up the energy a little bit. Here's what we got for our listeners. We got new listeners, by the way, because I've been posting this in new leagues, some redraft leagues. Here's what we're going to do. We're going over matchups, a little bit of reactions. You know what? We're not going to go over all the games at this point because if you're listening to this podcast, trust me, you're dialed in. You know who scored. You know who the duds are. We're going to go through the matchups, talk about a little bit of dynasty theory, what we want to be doing with those players, who we're starting, who we're avoiding. We're going to get it all going right now. So, Smitty, we grinded all off season, man. We finally got week 1 in the books, and we are recording after the Thursday night game of the Dolphins Bills. Tua, we hope you're doing good. We will not talk about this game until next week because we're talking about the rest of the matchups now. This one's in the books. Smitty, how you feeling after week 1? Talk to me. How did your dynasty teams do? How'd you redrafts? And then let's kick it and get the listeners what they want.
Well, I just want to give a lot of respect to James Cook. James Cook, sir, you are an RB1 and I will treat you as such. That's all I have to say.
Good. You should. We are all idiots. We sat around all offseason trying to figure out what wide receiver was going to get the target share and how Dalton Kincaid was going to have an epic rise. Here's the deal. We never sat back and thought, you know what? They're going to run the ball a lot more. And guess what they're doing? Run the ball a lot more. So, James Cook, you're going in the cowbell. You're going into the workhorse running back.
Yes.
But you know what? I'm pumped. Weird week 1, everybody. Yeah, you know, the NFL. So 30 is either 31 or 32 total touchdowns thrown by quarterbacks. Um, we got to chalk up, put it in the rearview mirror. Don't think twice about it. You know what? Players don't play in the preseason anymore. Teams aren't ready. There's only one coach out there. His name's Andy Reid. That's why he'll go down as the greatest coach ever by the time he's done. He's the only one that wants to get his team ready to go. But there was chaos. There was a disorganization. There was penalties. It was just, it looked like crap in the running backs 8. And hopefully we can get through that and have a better week 2. But by week 3, these offenses will be dialed in for wide receivers to rock and roll, I think.
Yeah, fully agree. Hopefully, honestly, hopefully, because if you're playing in if you're playing in point 0.5 PPR, you probably stocked up on receivers, and you're like, come on, guys, let's get these tutties.
Bizarre world. Everything that should have happened didn't. Everything that didn't happen, just should have happened. Like it was bad, but chalk it up. Let's get into it here. So after week 1, let's talk a little dynasty theory here. Let's get some tips, some trades. Then we'll get into the matchups. But what are you doing right now? Because we're portfolio players. So for new listeners, we got portfolios. We've got different teams doing different things. But man, I took a hard look at my teams after week 1 that and just said, hey, is this a team that's going to make it or not? And I made the appropriate trades to go in for the teams that do. But I just stripped down a team literally in the last 48 hours. And you were part of that strip down for me, Smitty, and I loved it. So what are you doing? How do you know when it's time to go straight up for the 101? Because the first to do it is going to get it.
You know what's so funny? In that league that you're talking about, maybe realistically a day or two after we did the startup for that draft, I said, the startup for that league, I said, whoa, this draft, I don't know what I've done. I think I fumbled somewhere. I kind of fully expect, I guess I just didn't really target my guys as much as as much as I usually do. And I said, okay, whoa, this roster here looks like it's going to be a rebuild. Surprisingly, did pretty well first week 1. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I should see what I got and go as far as I can with it because I think that was like in that's like one of the rare, ladies and gentlemen, I don't do this often, but when I do, it's it's a big surprise. It was one of the rare startups where I actually like acquired liquidity. Like I had two firsts in that league. I'm like, what? Okay, well I guess trying to require when I'm trying to acquire liquidity, I'm gonna take a hit in some spots. And I genuinely thought like my team was full of holes. But surprisingly, week one ended up all right. So first off, if you're going to start up this upcoming season, do not be afraid to acquire liquidity because you totally can have a fire week one. And if you do have a fire week one with liquidity, let's make this thing a contender. And that's exactly what I did with my friend Brian here. We have
You
both. So you can go ahead.
you used your liquidity right. So let's tell the listeners what the trade was. I'm not going to win. I'm going for the 101. I sent you Kyler Murray. You sent me Jordan Love. I don't want the points on my bench. Max PF league. I also who else was in that trade? I took a
So
first
I also
and
received. Okay, so I think on my full end it was Kyler. I sent you Jordan Love, Jaden Reed, and
that's
a
right.
first. And
Yep.
then from you, I received Kyler Murray, Cooper Cup,
Derrick
and
Henry.
Derrick Henry. And I'm like, you know what? These are pieces that could probably really help me get a push, especially K1 and Cup, and then Henry when he can, right? And in return, he got a pretty cool stack. It's just is down at the moment due to Jordan Love's unfortunate injury out there in Brazil.
Yeah, but we talk about process, and you got to be real with yourself sometimes. You don't want to end up fifth. You don't want to end up sixth. You don't want to end up seventh. But we preach liquidity. And the number one tip I will tell everyone that's listening to this for the first time, our normal listeners know what this tip is going to be, but you need liquidity. You know what? We can go all in Dynasty. That's great. But you need liquidity. This game we play, one of our favorite people says it as poetic as it gets. It's for stupid people that want to be sad. There's going to be injuries. You're going to need to buy players throughout there in seconds, thirds, those types of things happen. So needing a player and not having any draft picks left because a couple things went wrong for you is the worst place to be in. You can fit the production by buying players sometimes and mimic roles for other players that you're selling off. So liquidity is a big thing, and we'll talk about how to get it throughout the rest of this pod. So let's just jump into it. Let's get into the matchups. We're going to talk about all the players while we're doing the matchups. Let me get it pulled up on here. So new listeners, this is part of the reason we did this podcast is Smitty over here is a Rams fan. I'm a Cardinals fan. So by nature, we're always arguing. And we got week two matchup. We're going against each other. Let's kick it. Rams Cardinals.
Okay,
Uh,
hold on. Before we get into this, last week made a bit of a waterbed. I thought that the Rams would beat the Lions, and we almost had them. We almost had them. If they didn't pick tails, I swear to God. Oh,
get that Super Bowl jersey wet. Get that Super Bowl jersey wet.
oh, we almost had them, y'all. I'll take the 21 targets. I'll take that excellent fantasy output from Cup. But oh man, this close.
Yeah. So where's the value here? So Cooper Cup, 21 targets. He if he stays healthy, he's got wide receiver one potential in him. Matthew Stafford's going to feed the dog. Look at Puka. Puka, it looks like he's going to be out more than 4 games. I don't know how long, but it just seems like it's going to be a little bit longer
No,
than
I would
four
just
weeks.
throw
So,
this out there. I'm gonna assume he's gonna be out until week 7, just because we have the week 6 bye. It makes a lot of sense. That's my guess. I mean,
okay.
that's just my guess.
So let's go under that assumption. I do like that thought process. So where's the opportunity? We've got targets vacated from this offense. Is it Robinson? Talk to me about Parkinson.
You know what?
Um,
I do want to say also, not only did we receive a not only did Puka Nakua receive a potential IR injury. I'm sure he's on. I'm sure he's on the injury reserve right now.
yes.
We lost a lot of. We were like considered one of the best offensive lines walking into the season. We lost a lot of those guys during the last week's game to the point where we got third stringers on that offensive line at this moment. And so, yeah, I'm honestly predicting quite a bit of Colby Parkinson. Like I think he's one of my favorite guys to pick up. I mean, not necessarily even to pick up to like possibly start if you're in tight end, if you have some tight end troubles. I like Parkinson. I honestly love Demarcus Robinson in this type of situation. You know, Tyler Johnson, I mean, did he have a pretty big play? Yes. I think he even scored, so he's interesting. I'm not there with it yet. However, if we are talking dynasty, it's it's time to like throw these thirds at Jordan Whittington to see what happens. Like
Yep.
let's just start there. In dynasty leagues, just throw a third and see where the conversation goes. I'm not gonna say maybe do a second now, but no, let's not do seconds yet. Let's just see what the third will get you. You might even have to do. You might even have to do two thirds if you got it. I don't know. Just it's time to start looking Jordan Winton's way. He did enough in the preseason to say that hey, if we have a hole, a puka sized hole, he might be able to fill it. Sounded weird. Anyways, I guess
So
my big
Whittington.
thing is how do you feel about the Cardinals defense? Because I think they are bad enough to where I'm happy starting Demarcus Robinson and Kobe Parkinson. I'm pretty confident with those guys, but as flexes and nothing more.
Yeah, unless I've got one of the top five, six tight ends,
Mhm.
depending on where you want to rank these guys, I'm streaming Parkinson this week. I was planning on doing that in our league of record till I decided to make a dumb trade and trade you, X
It was not a
Worthy,
dumb trade.
for Dalton Kincaid tonight, and that's burning. It's probably going to burn me, but whatever that is. But that's all I'm going. I'm not going to start the other two wide receivers this week. I'm going to need to see what it looks like. It's going to be a lot of Cooper Cup. It's going to be a lot of 204. It's Kyron. So Kyron's nickname is 204. You'll hear me say that a lot. But so I think this is a time that you should process Trey Kyron out with the offensive line issues that are going on. I think we can assume that
Not
they
bad.
might have a little hard time uh, getting points, and maybe you probably can't rotate to James Cook after tonight's game, but a James Cook like player that is in a good offense is going to get a lot of touches. Process that out for a piece and that, and that's how you get your liquidity. When it comes to Whittington, um, he was a big redraft stash for me on the waiver wire that I picked up because I want to take a chance on that. And when I preach liquidity, this is a time where I think no risk it, no biscuit, where I'm going to look at him and say, you know what? I'm going to just offer a second round pick because I have 4 or 5 second round picks traditionally. I mean, I'll have at least three on all my squads for things just like this because if you end up striking out on a second round pick, you're going to do that in the draft anyway. But if you hit his price is going to get a lot higher because Cooper Cup isn't going to be there forever. And it's an offense that can absolutely have wide receivers that you don't think are good turn into being good. I don't see a Puka like thing happening, but if we can get half the production Puka got last year, you're going to be very happy stashing him for a second round pick. Cardinal side of the ball, I'm a full go on Marvin Harrison still. I do believe they're going to force him the football. I'm a full go on James Conner. I'm a full go on Trey McBride. I'm a full go on K1.
Hold up, there's
Um,
one more guy that is a absolute full go in my opinion.
are you talking about our touchdown leader in Michael Wilson? Are you
I
talking
didn't
about
know that.
that?
I'm sorry, that surprised me. Yeah, yes, absolutely. I think he is a solid flex this week. I mean, just like let's be honest, the injuries and plus this defense is low key not great, especially in the secondary. So I'm very fine with starting Michael Wilson in this game. Man, it feels so weird to talk down this team, but let's be real. I like him as a start. Touchdown leader, really? I did not know that.
Sneaky, yeah, he got the first touchdown of the year. I texted you that. I was like, really? It goes to
You sure
Wilson.
did.
But you know what? So this was an offense that didn't really have elite production out of it from a fantasy standpoint. It might be time to take some stabs at K1 Trey McBride. Marvin Harrison didn't get any cheaper. I promise you, he didn't get any cheaper. But Trey McBride and K1 very well might have. We've been hyping up Michael Wilson a lot on this podcast, so most people that listen to it probably have him somewhere on your team. If you have a deep bench, I mean, he might be flex, but I think it's going to get a little dirty, Smitty. You got to be pretty dirty if you're hit with. I mean, look at if you had some Raheem Mostert, T Higgins, you had all the Pukas, and you're just rattled with injuries. Yeah, throw them in there, and you know what? Let's hope for the best because my takeaway from tonight's game was the Bills are a lot better on defense than we imagined. before Tua got injured. They were dominating that football game, and they didn't do that against the Cardinals. They did in the second half, but we look better than the Miami Dolphins offense did.
A hundred
So,
percent.
are we gonna water bet this?
You know what? Am I nervous? Yes, but as long as we got nine and dime, I'm pretty confident. So yes, we are.
Dude, has a very high point or point total, implied point total, 47 and a half. Arizona's favored by one. That surprised me that Arizona's favored.
Really?
All right, man. This was gonna be fun to talk about. Saints Cowboys. What are we doing here? Backfield split. We've got Raheed Shaheed going off. We got Chris Olave doing nothing. We've got Derek Carr looking like a stud. Saints defense looked good. Dallas's offense looked good. They didn't really need to do too much. So, what are we doing here? Talk to me about process and who we're starting, who we're fading.
Dude, much like Michael Wilson, maybe even more so now, maybe even more so for this guy, I'm very confident with starting Brandon Cooks. Here's the thing. I was really excited for Jake Ferguson's. I really felt like his role last year was pretty much just going to be the same. All that production was just going to translate, or just not translate, but transfer rather. And just based off week one, it's looking like Brandon Cooks is who I was expecting Jake Ferguson to be. And then I don't even know, I don't actually don't. Is Jake Ferguson out? I don't think so. Either way, I'm confident with starting Brandon Cooks. I mean, the Saints defense, are they great? Yeah, absolutely. But I think they're really going to have to focus on CD Lamb if they want to. I mean, if they want to win, right? So, yeah, Cowboys. You know what? And honestly, I think this is the time we could do something with Dowdle. I think this is the time we could, look Dowdle's way.
You looking to acquire him?
I am actually. I am because, oof. I mean, I just wasn't. I was down on Zeke completely. I am impressed because he did beat my expectation, but
Do you see the
that
way he
beat,
hurdled that guy?
yeah,
Like it was like the second play of the game.
yeah. But I don't expect that to continue. I mean, okay, it's only week two. It's not like he's completely banged up. I don't know. It just let's look Dowdle's way. I feel like he is gonna be forgotten. I doubt it'll be worse than last week. So, I mean, maybe not to start him, but I am gonna look to acquire him for sure.
Yeah, this is a little tip that I would also like to say about week one. What running backs are hurt in week one? Do they all come into the season pretty healthy because the starting running backs don't play in the preseason?
Right, right.
So does it alarm you when Joe Mixon gets 30 touches? I mean, is someone else eventually going to get some touches in the backfield? Does an old running back like Zeke look good in week one? Where are legs going to be in week 8, 9, 10? This was a 50-50 back split. They literally rotated possessions, and I do think that I think Dowdle's a better athlete at this point, but
Mm-hmm.
I do get the vet and I do get the connection that Zeke has to that team. They will continue to use him until the
And
wheels fall off, but it will happen this year. Rico Dowdle needs to be somewhere on your team because old running backs get hurt all the time. And I would love to see if he could just get up to 60% touches in that backfield, and I'd be a happy man.
right,
Um, so zero RB strategies, as I talk about running backs, this is always a time. I'm a zero RB guy. Any running back on a 53, I'm stacking hammers elsewhere. But guess what? I always look like an idiot. Weeks 1, 2, and 3. Always look like an idiot because all the running backs are healthy, and there's like, oh my god, none of these, guys you have stashed on your benches that are probably going to get 4 or 5 starts in the year come in and win me weeks. So taper expectations on running backs after week 1, I would like to say. But yeah, I like that. So how are we getting Dowdle? I think you can pretty much get him anywhere right now. I don't think his price is too expensive. I mean, I know anyone alive would take a second for him right now, but um, I think I can get away with doing a trade and getting him as a throw-in piece.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, okay, I'm just trying to figure out. So, okay, I can't think of what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out who is a tier below that I'm very willing to add a third to get Dowdle, but he's better off a throw-in. You're right. He's just better off being an additional piece because just going for him straight up is kind of the bad is not the play. But
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would agree on that one, but I don't really know the tier below him because the tier below him, I mean, people are really down on Rico right now. I refuse to be down on Rico. I refuse to. I will admit when I'm wrong, but the price I got him for, he could sit on my bench for another 3 or 4 weeks until I just realize I'm wrong or we are right. Saints side's really confusing to me right now. Take the Chris Olave, throw it in a trash can, and move on. Start him this week. I look, Chris Olave is not going to go out there and be dominated by touches by Foster Moreau, Juwan Johnson. I do agree that Carr and Shaheed have a mind meld connection that can just spike off 5 or 6 times a year. You know, he was a big best ball guy of mine. He is someone you should have on your team if you can. But I'd wait till he has some down weeks because then you might probability of a spike week coming up. Just know the volatility around that player.
Hmm.
Um, what are we doing with Derek Carr? Because Derek Carr has burned me so much. Every time I want him to do good, he does. And every time I think he's going to suck, he does good. I can't stand him. I want nothing to do with him anymore. If I redraft ever again, I will just not have a wide receiver because I don't want to deal with weeks like we're going to get with Olave. Sometimes Derek Carr is not going to get him the football, and then he's going to feed him some games too. So, are you trading for Chris Olave? I've been trying to all week. Um,
For Chris Olave?
yeah, I've been trying all week in Dynasty. I have been unsuccessful of acquiring him, which is really pissing me off that people are getting smarter.
Yeah, I just, oh God, he's not. I'm out on the offense. However, they did look incredible against the Panthers. But this is my whole thing. I think that game is so incredibly fluky because the Panthers are so incredibly garbage. I I don't take any of that. I don't. If anything, if anybody wants my Derek Carr shares, have it, please. Have it. Send a third if you want. I'm over it. But you know what? Then there might be some situations where I need to start a quarterback, and uh, that's not an exciting start. So yeah, I'm just here to sell Carr, and honestly, I'm here to sell Olave too. Now,
But who's buying? Because
if
look,
I'm gonna buy
there's a
anyone,
tier.
say what?
There's a tier. There's a tier that I'm not willing to go to, and I'd rather have Derek Carr. That tier right now is Bryce Young and Will Levis. I understand taper your expectations, but I'm telling you right now that I think I can get more quality starts the next 12 to 24 months from Derek
Derek,
Carr than I can Will Levis.
then what? You know what? I would much rather have. I would much rather have a Will Levis. I mean, the last week didn't look too good for the Titans. But I agree, but the offensive line alone is just more exciting. I don't know. When you play the Panthers, you can't really take any of that seriously. At least I
I'm
can't. I can't.
I can't either, but I can't take anything about the Panthers seriously. I'm out. I'm out on Bryce Young. I mean, I'm out. And I'm more out on Bryce Young than I'm Will Levis, but I'm not far away at all.
Will
So,
Levis.
take that for what it is. Some people will do that trade. So maybe if you have Derek Carr, you can go try to flip that into Will Levis right now. Maybe you can find someone like me that would be on that side. It's very roster construction dependent because look at I am not either one of those quarterbacks better not be my QB2 in a super flex. Like I am stripping it down to the bones and rebuilding right now if that is my secondary option from a QB unless it's like a best ball,
Mhm.
straight up lineup league. Um all right, so who do you got winning this game? You got the Cowboys winning this game because
Oh my
I
goodness,
mean
yes. Oh my goodness, yes, 100%. I don't know. The Saints, in my opinion, I view the Saints like in like Panthers tier, even though they clearly are better. But yeah, the Cowboys are gonna have way too much fun against that team. They'll be called America's team once again after that.
yeah, I do think that Saints D is pretty good though. We might have a buying
Pretty sure,
opportunity
yeah.
after this week for the running backs for Dallas. We'll see. Bucks Lions. This is fun. Baker Mayfield. Yes, I'm yes. I what did you not like? I will tell you as we go back through, at week 18 when it's all said and done, we might look back at this NFL season and say Baker Mayfield had the best throw of the year to Mike Evans in the back of the end zone. That
Mm.
was something of absolute beauty from Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans. Mike Evans isn't going anywhere. He's going to do 1,000 yards. He's going to do exactly what he's doing. He's going to miss some games, but he's going to get you 1,000. He's going to get you close to double-digit touchdowns. I think Baker can have a good year, and his supporting cast can as well. Um, what I'm really curious about here is the backfield. Um, I understand the game script. I understand all that. Both running backs look pretty decent. Um, I don't think that's going to be as big of a timeshare as people might think at the moment. But there's also some concern about maybe getting out on White because what's his value? Like trade wise, if you think about his value, what are you really getting from him? Because smart managers are going to try to replicate the production from backup running backs the way that I will. Um, what are you really getting for him? Because people look and be like, I don't know if he's going to be starting next year.
I would totally. I mean, okay, if I was trying to like, you're trying to upgrade a running back, or just trying to see
Mhm.
what you can even get for him, for Rashad White. I mean, let's start with the second. I would like to see if I can get a second. Let's start there. If we're talking
You'll get a second for sure. You'll get a second for sure.
for sure.
That's not even a question. You'll get it. It's just a matter of whether or not you want it.
Oh,
Now, my question is, would you try to go to a wide receiver? Would you try to go to a guy like JMO, who I was in love with, and I finally just threw in a towel? And of course, it just, you know what? But I also turned him into Jordan Reed or Jaden Reed. I turned him into Justin Jefferson in trades,
oh my God.
just people buying the hype. I turned him into running backs that are going to really produce for me this year. So I don't mind any of those trades, even if he goes off. But would you try to be doing something like that? Because I think you can get something like that done and like that side of wide receiver that might have a little bit longer left in him than Rashad White will. And I think I'd be interested in doing something
Yeah,
like that.
I think that's the move. Or if you want to target someone like Mixon, just don't be afraid to like do White plus a third. See what that can get. See if that can get you into the Mixon tier. Actually, I mean, we haven't got to that game yet, but do you think Mixon will be a top one? I mean, a top 12 RB this year?
I mean, he sure looks like it,
Right.
but my biggest takeaway in best ball season. I drafted a lot of Damian Pearson. It's just, I mean, he was free. I mean, it was like last round picks and stuff. But my biggest thing is he's an older running back. And if he gets injured, Damian Pierce has a really good, like, he's not going to be as good as Joe Mixon. But yeah, I'm in. I still see, I'm curious if I might have Rashad White in a higher tier than Joe Mixon still in Dynasty,
I'm not
but
there anymore, unfortunately.
you're not there anymore.
No, because I'm pretty happy with what Bucky Irvin's doing, and Bucky Irvin's like really like look. I'm not saying there will be a usurp, but like he's gonna make this thing like a little more 50-50 ish than I could have ever expected. So, and then I'm not even saying Rashad White's bad or anything. I'm definitely not. It's just I really do. I really do like what Mixon put on the tape. Like I really just vastly prefer him actually.
Is this the type
Because
of so could you? I think here's a good trade. I think if you look at Rashad White and you look at your quarterback room and you're like, you know what? Let me try to upgrade my quarterback slightly. Let me just try to get a little bit tier above that. I'll send these two pieces, get that. But for me, a trade like that would be because I've got seconds in liquidity where I'm going to go buy players like Zach Moss to maybe fill the role. And look at I don't I we have no answers from Cincinnati whatsoever on offense, what that's going to look like.
oh yeah,
But
can't wait to talk about them.
yeah, but you know what? Like that's what I would be trying to do for that. I still think you can get a really good price. I mean, that was a top 10 running back last year,
Sure was.
but I think there's better days ahead. I'd rather have Rashad White than Joe Mixon, just in a dynasty standpoint. Redraft, I'm definitely leaning on the Joe Mixon side after that game. No,
Okay,
no,
gotcha.
that's yeah.
And going against the Lions, he will be. I don't foresee a great game from White. I really don't.
Yeah. I would say that from the standpoint of the Bucks, I'm starting Mike Evans. Um, you probably have to start Baker Mayfield here in a super flex. If it's not a super flex, I'm not starting Baker Mayfield.
Right.
But I'm definitely probably staying away from Godwin in this game. Um,
Really?
yeah, I think so.
Very interested in Godwin. Okay. Godwin could have been a fluke. I mean, goodness gracious, the Commanders looked awful defensively. Yeah, the Commanders looked awful. I'm just gonna say it. They looked really bad. So that could be a fluky game for Godwin. However, I'm just paying attention. I'm excited. Honestly, I'm pretty hyped up for Godwin. Um, Dude, I really wouldn't mind flexing him, frankly. Not in a in a redraft or Dynasty, yeah, I actually would happily flex him.
All right, so let me ask you a question. Would you start Chris Godwin or Jaden Reed, wide receiver one right now,
Oh my
with
god.
Malik Willis as the quarterback?
You know, I just wish Malik Willis was able to successfully do a Hail Mary. I mean, the guy didn't even try. Like, I'm starting to wonder if he's gonna ruin that off. I mean, like, I'm not gonna. We expect a complete downgrade for all Packers, right? But I'm scared he's gonna be Brett Rippin type of crap. Like, I am not excited to see. I am, yeah, okay. Godwin. I would much rather start Chris Godwin over Jaden Reed.
No. That's close and hard for me. I've got Reed everywhere. He's going to end up in my starting lineups because I don't think I'm going to have an option. But I would really like to avoid Reed this week if I could. But if there's one wide receiver I'm starting in Green Bay, it is Reed.
Yeah, he
Um,
would be. He would be in my one. Yeah.
they can find ways to manufacture his touches. We're going to get into that game in a little bit. Let's keep with the Lions here. Um, I'm firing up everybody from the Lions side, including JMO. I don't know how you don't put JMO in your lineup. He had a 34% target share, 90 some percent route percentage run. He's on the field. He looked electric. Every single statistic out there says he was elite last week. I talk about windows to sell players quite a bit. Here's a window. You got a window. You have to, if you truly think that this is going to be rest of the season, you probably don't want to sell him. But if you don't, you're going to miss your window because if he's got 3, 4, 5 bad games in a row and then goes off for another one, we are not going to feel the way we feel about JMO now because we'll see the volatility in the player. So I would try to tear up from another. I would try to tear up. I would take him. I would take another decent tier two wide receiver and try to get into tier one.
Okay, I love that idea. Can I be honest? Literally hours. Let's just be honest. Minutes before tonight's game, I really did try to send out JMO for Keon Coleman, and that Keon Coleman manager was not having it. So I thought that was kind of, and it was just I just wanted a simple swap, straight up trade. So I'm not too sure what JMO's price is. For sure it's up. For sure it should get you something. I just thought JMO would be the guy, but this is Dynasty, so um I wouldn't
But
dare
here's the thing.
like that in redraft. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have JMO redraft, do the tier up like you said. Package him with like Raid Shaheed and get uh, God, I mean I can't be so ballsy and say Evans, but Olave if possible. Olave if
I
possible.
y- yeah, I mean, I'm talking about going stud category. I'm
Oh,
talking about.
straight up there. Okay.
I'm trying to go to the ceiling here. I'm going to a Justin Jefferson manager. I'm
Ooh.
taking a I'm taking a guy like Brian Thomas Jr. and JMO trying to get there. I'm taking, let's talk about Garrett Wilson. If I can package Garrett Wilson, I can package JMO and get me JJ. I'm all in all day. Maybe get a third back in there. I'm talking about going electric to the moon because he's a piece that people will think about now and say, holy crap, wait, I'll get G Willie and this guy that could be G Willie and get two G Willies for JJ. I would be looking at something like that. I would be looking at packaging him with AJ Brown to get to JJ, to
Oh,
get to Chase. I would be looking at something to that, or I'd be looking at packaging him with a tight end to get me one of the top stud tight ends as well. Or I'd package him with a running back and try to get to. I would try to take him to get to the. I think you can do it, Smitty. Here's the thing: there are people that believe in JMO Williams. There are people that have never stopped believing in JMO Williams. You find that manager, you get this deal done.
I mean, whoa, I can't wait. Okay, wow, okay. Sorry, that excited me because I just did not think. You're right, dude. Those island games are massive. That is a massive bump for JMO. All right, well, I have homework. That's sick.
Okay, let's say your roster construction allows you to do this. You take JMO, AJ Brown, a first, and you ask for JJ and a second back. Why wouldn't a manager do that right now?
Honestly, I really
That's
can see it.
probably an overpay, but dude, there are certain gods in this game that we play that are untouchable. Justin Jefferson is a god. He is a gladiator. He is everything you want in a player for the next 5 years of your life.
Hmm.
When you have a window to possibly get those guys, you got to take them. I'm very interested in the running back. David Montgomery is going to be a thing. We water betted it last week on total touchdowns, 1-1 right now. It was Bizarro script. Montgomery was going between the 20s and Gibbs is going in the red zone. I'm like, wait a minute, wasn't that supposed to be the reverse?
Right.
But if you can get David Montgomery on your team, go get him on your team. Go get him on your team, especially if Gibbs goes off this week. There is no one on the Lions that I don't think we should go get. But if Jamo's a thing, let me ask you this:
Hmm.
what does that mean for Sam Laporta? Because we were down on Jamo because we thought he was going to be a third or the fourth option. We're looking like he's going to be the second or the third now. I just don't know who the second is. Is it Laporta or him?
Because when I think of Laporte, I think of, oh my goodness, everything's falling apart. Oh my goodness, I'm Goff. I'm really not that experienced, but I am. But I'm also not the greatest. Please, nearest target, Laporta. Like I really think that's Laporta's role, and like dude, the Rams secondary was so not there yet to where it just made sense for Jameson to have a game. So I think we should just be fine and like strongly even consider Laporte to be the one on this team, even though completely ignore what happened on Monroe. That was wild. We'll just ignore that one completely. But yeah, Laporta's role is just so important to Goff. I really do think so.
Laporta's the two. I still believe he's the two. I
Really?
I absolutely I
But shout
absolutely
out to
do.
the
But
offense for having like finally a viable three. Like that's love the Lions, man. Love them. I hope they
vi- viable three in one of our starts of the week, Jared Goff decided not to do well. All right, this one will be cool. Colts Packers. We just kind of talked a little bit. We briefly said, at least I did. Jada Reed's the only really wide receiver I want to start.
yeah.
Josh Jacobs is really tough in this one because they're going to run the rock. But if Josh Jacobs doesn't get to the end zone, you're going to have a hard day. But I doubt you have someone to replace him at all. But the Colts side of the ball is very interesting to me. Let's talk some A Rich. Um,
Exploded
we
last week. Oh my God. I'm so thankful for that game.
It was the ugliest 30 points I've ever seen a quarterback have. He didn't get 30 points, but it was really close. But this man, I know everyone watches the sleeper updates that are listening to this. The sleeper video they posted from the aerial of that pass that he had,
Hmm.
he threw that ball 70 yards. That was insane. And then he looked like crap. I mean, he either dropped the most impressive dimes I've ever seen or Daniel Jones style throws. It was
Uh-huh.
absolutely nuts. We are pro A Rich. I am still all in. This man will figure out how to throw the football. I mean, even if he gets 20% better, sign me up, top five QB.
Dude, you know what? That's so funny. We're talking about this window that JMO has. Oh my goodness. I am so into the idea of turning A Rich into like well, now a Josh Allen type window. I mean, my goodness, his stat line today was not the greatest. But if people aren't really thinking of a game script, I think you can turn A Rich into Josh Allen. I think you can turn. I have I have been look all offseason. I was just like thinking, how can I turn A Rich into Patty Mahomes? Finally, was able to do it today. I was super excited about that. I mean, goodness, just I'm so thankful for that game because now I just have the biggest reason to sell him because I don't. I'm starting to think that his time in the league is going to be short lived. I mean, like he runs a lot, right? Which is great and fantastic for fantasy, and a lot of people love that, and a lot of people want that, especially in a dynasty. That means they can rely on that for at least 3 years. When we talk about the Commanders, I'll expand on that. But I did not like his passing ability. I don't. I'm still not here for that. I wish it was better. Now I understand it's year two, but I'm still not. I'm not excited. I'm not excited for Pittman. It's going to be hell for trying to figure out who else to target outside of him. And when Downs is back, that's going to be when Downs is back. I don't even think I want any of those guys, including Pittman. Like it's, oh yeah, I'm not really even trying to say I'm out, but I'm considering leaving. Like I don't like it.
AD Mitchell looked the part.
Hmm.
Um, I'm really curious, like you said, about when Downs gets back. Um, Bro, I'm in. I'm in. And I love your idea, though. If you could turn him into, there's like probably three assets that I'd like to turn him into. It'd be Mahomes, Lamar, and
Bar is
um,
a good
and
one. That
Allen.
might not be so
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to turn him into Hertz. I don't know if I want to turn him into Stroud. I might look at turning him into Caleb in a piece. That's something that I might be interested in on a team that maybe I don't think is going to win this year. I see a much better elite. I'm talking about like consistency, like 35 touchdown plus player out of Caleb. I'd like to take that chance.
Okay.
But outside of that, man, I'm like, dude, I'm in. He is everything I want to see from a fantasy football player. I get he
I
can't
get
throw the
that.
football, but there are just going to be points everywhere. JT's going to eat this week. This is a JT week. DFS, redraft. This should be a JT week. Um,
I feel that.
Look, dude, if I have to, man, I'm gonna fire AD Mitchell into a lineup this week if I have to,
Okay.
because the one thing that I've noticed in that game is Michael Pittman's going to run that intermediate short routes.
Hmm.
Sweet, he's going to get 10 targets and 50 yards. Awesome. There are going to be a lot of deep throws coming from A Rich, and I just need one to hit, and that's where I would be looking. But
God.
I don't know if am going to fully buy into I need a stack with A Rich in Dynasty or
I
actually a redraft.
I totally agree with you. Yeah, he is a one man show, and honestly, yeah, it's really. I'm gonna say this right here. I think I think Josh Jacobs and JT are kind of in the same tier to me. I really like them both equally, and that's like a low tier RB1 with real like exciting RB2 upside.
Yeah, it should be fun. I want to see JT for selfish purposes in my favorite dynasty league called the Royal Rumble. I really want him to eat. All
Oh,
right,
he
Jets
definitely will against
Titans.
the Packers.
Jets Titans. I think we can go over this one pretty quickly, but Jets go by G Willie if you can, hands down. Um, Man, I don't really know where else to go with that offense. I don't think Brees Hall got
What about
cheaper.
Lazard? Do you want to? Okay, no, but seriously though, I think Lazard is a stash because I have to see it happen again. I
Stash
have
start.
to see. Oh, you're done.
No, stash start
Oh,
right
okay. Oh,
now.
I thought you were saying I don't want any parts of it. I mean, it's just because I mean he was he seemed really familiar for Rodgers. Which by the way, I don't think I even want Rodgers in any type of dynasty situation. I mean, like that's like QB4 on if I need to. That's like a break glass in case of emergency break glass in case of emergency type of guy, and I for sure do not want him in redraft. But then again, he was playing the absolute best defense in the league, so maybe I should just let that be just a reaction to that. But I'm not excited for this man's season.
In dynasty, sometimes we got to look down our roster and look at our wide receivers we got to put it in. And we're just like, I don't like any of these options. I don't like anything. And if Lazard's on there, so go look at Destination Davy, Dynasty Daddy. Go
Ugh.
look at their Trinity charts over there, and you're going to see that the routes in the Trinity on Lazard last week is the touches that are going to matter. And the reality is that offense didn't look like it was working as one unit. And the person that's got the most chemistry with Aaron Rodgers is Lazard. And I think, you know what, cross your fingers, put your steel underpants on. And if you got to do it, you know what? I think you can get a couple good weeks out of him here, and then start fading. But G Willie's going to eat. G Willie's going to be the one. They'll get it together. Go by G Willie. The only problem is we're going to have a big. What is the quarterback going to look like in the future? But I do think if Aaron Rodgers can, if that offense can step it up, which I do think they will, and be ready to play, I think Garrett Wilson has league winning ability. I mean, he's going to be hyper targeted in that offense.
He was so close to. Oh my god, it was exciting. It was exciting. Yeah, okay, this is like the matchup right here though too. Um, this is a for sure bounce back for all Jets and Brees Hall. Oh my God, we're about to see an RB1 of the week, I assume.
Good chance. Titans look bad. I don't know what to do with the Titans. You're starting Tony Pollard. That it wasn't a 50-50 back split. Um, We'll go with the hot hand. They say, I do want to see Tajay Spears get the ball a little bit more, but fundamentally, from a buy standpoint, nothing's really there for me from the Titans.
Oh,
I would
not
like
fun at
out
this.
if I
I
would like
definitely
I
agree.
would take a discount on the player just to get rid of him to have the liquidity to go see if I could do something else with it. Because sometimes you can take a second and tier up with that better than you can take a crappy player. It's like I've seen it on a field. I just rather chance with the second. Like that's how players think. It's an undefined value that they perceive better than a player sometimes. Um, the Titans looked horrible. Will Levis looked horrible. Um, I can't believe that interception he had. That was just garbage. I don't feel comfortable really starting anybody on the Titans unless I am forced to do that.
I agree. Yeah, this is not the match. I mean, I still have faith in the Jets defense. I don't want to start any of them. Not even Pollard. Not even Pollard. Actually, dude, Mason had himself a game. Well, we'll talk about him very shortly. But if Mason can do it, Pollard can. If Pollard can do half the production, he might be the only one worth starting on the Titan side.
I'd like to look elsewhere. I would, but I've got a feeling you got to. If you build rosters like me and he's on your lineup, you're just throwing him in every week and you're getting your stud wide receivers, tight ends, and quarterbacks to do the work for you. But
Yeah.
if you build around running backs, he'd be on my bench. Yeah, I would actually might try to trade Tony Pollard right now.
Yep.
Um,
Good idea.
I yeah,
Thank
but this will be cool. 49ers, Vikings. Niners look great. Um, I don't care what people say. Ayuk didn't get the ball that much. Doesn't matter. This
you.
team's elite. I felt that was the best looking team in football week one to me, even over the Chiefs. Everything looked good. Running game's always going to do well. Debo's always going to eat. Kittle will have his games up and down with the volatility. But Jordan Mason, let's talk. That is probably the biggest dynasty subject right now. Um, this injury might linger for Christian McCaffrey. I'm on the side that once Christian McCaffrey's healthy, they will not rush him back. But once he is ready to go and he's fully ready to go, CMC will see his normal workload. So, Smitty, this is what I did. I actually had a lot of trades for Jordan Mason.
You
He was
had Jordan
on.
Mason everywhere.
He did. I had like 20 shares of him. It was something crazy,
Easy.
but I picked him up on waivers in a lot of leagues. A lot of ones just, it was just through last year. He's always throwing pieces that I was always just keeping around because of the scheme. But I took a hard look at my teams, and the ones that I said I don't think can win, he's off of those teams already. The ones that I think he might be a valuable piece to get me somewhere that I'm going in, I have kept. But I did trades with one of our favorite players to do a trade. Jeezy, this guy understands value. He understands trades. He's in a
Stroud.
league that he might win this year. He had CMC, and I straight went Trey Benson in a second and I sent him Jordan Mason in a third. And those are trades you'll get done for managers that have CMC. If you want the value, you have a window for Jordan Mason. And I will also say this: the other side of this coin, Smitty, is I think he's a free agent after this year. If he does this, somebody will put him on their team. I don't know if it'll be the RB1. It probably will be, but I've liquidated Jordan Mason everywhere. That in teams that I'm not going to use them, and I'm living with that decision.
I am. Dude, sometimes you just make moves that make me want to like give you a standing ovation. You turn Jordan Mason. You really capitalized off that island game against one of my favorite defenses in the league. One of my favorite defenses I've seen in a while. You've turned Jordan Mason into Trey Benson in a dynasty.
I did, but here's the risk I took. Here's the risk I took. If news comes out tomorrow that Christian McCaffrey's going to be out for 8 games, maybe the rest of the season, they put him on IR. I just sold a league-winning running back that I could have got a first plus
Sure.
if that
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, that's
He
true.
will be a league winner if Christian McCaffrey does not step on the field again.
I think that was the best thing anyone could have asked for. I mean, wow, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. That was great. I love that move. I really do. I
I
really
do
do.
my best. I do my best. I've gotten second rounders for him. But
That's
you put him on a trade block in a real league, Smitty, like we play in,
mhm.
people will be knocking at your door within 5-10 minutes. They want him right now. The window's there. Vikings. This one's cool for me. go get Sam Darnold, because what I think is going to happen, he will have another spot to be a starter at next year. Maybe he goes back to Carolina. Oh my gosh. That would be Dave Canales, the quarterback whisperer. They bring back Sam Darnold and they make him a top 15 quarterback.
How
Can you imagine that? Sam Darnold can run the system. JJ is going to be just fine. I don't care about the other options in there. Nothing else matters. He's going to hyper target that boy. And I am all fine with JJ, with Sam Darnold. Aaron Jones. I bought him in a lot of places about a week before the season started after training camps. I knew he was healthy. He's going to eat. I'm cool with this offense, man.
dude, I'm even gonna say like just Addison has slight flex appeal because I mean, let's be honest, Sam
He's hurt
Darnold
though.
is he's no Kirk Cousins, but thank God. He's no Kirk Cousins, but he, Addison had him a game last year against the 49ers. And also, oh dude, if we're talking about players, I am actually very okay, and I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm very okay with trading away Derek Carr for Sam Darnold. That is a super solid move. Just do like honestly, be generous. Do Carr in a third for Sam Darnold. They'll be like, oh, okay, it's got all right, fine. Darnold won't be anything next year. I don't know if Carr will be anything next year. Like just that's a move I probably will be doing tonight.
Yep. I'm in. I'm in. I'll take the chance of Sam Darnold starting next year somewhere else. I think he's going to have a decent year. Is he going to be elite? Absolutely not. Is he going to be serviceable? Absolutely.
Agreed.
Um, all right. Seahawks, Patriots. Puke. I can't believe the Patriots won, but regardless,
Happy they did.
look, you should still be trying to acquire guys like Jalen Polk. Ramondre's going to eat, but you know what? Maybe he'll be a little lack of touchdowns because of the offense. Who knows? Um, I don't have anything else to say about the quarterbacks. Jacoby Brissett, even if I have to have a starting quarterback because I had an injury, I'm probably in a rebuild at that point.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but the Seahawks, your boy Kenneth Walker went off. This guy's going to be a stud. I'm not worried about Charbonnet, even though I think he'll get more touches than he did last year. DK Metcalf.
Dude, what the
All right,
heck?
here's the thing about DK.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if his peak price that you can get for him is ever going to be there again. Like I'm talking about like when he was at his peak. I think he's a little bit lower than that. And I think throughout the year he's going to have those spikes, but no matter what the spikes are, I don't think it will take him there. What are you doing with DK?
DK, I am going to, dude. I wonder if there's a world where we can, if there can be like a trade between Godwin and DK, like trying to use Godwin to acquire DK. That's something I would do, but at the end of the day, they probably aren't a similar tier. Dude, my biggest concern is like Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like I wonder if he's number one. Like, he might be damn near cuttable in redraft, but in Dynasty, like dude, during the offseason, we said, hey, maybe use him to get a running back. I am more in love with that advice than I've ever been before because I'm
Oh,
getting
I'm out.
concerned. Yeah,
I'm out. I've been out. I've
you
been
should.
out for a very long time on JSN. I'm out.
I
I
guess I'm
just,
just like starting to realize that this here's not working out.
I want a serviceable running back that will get me points right now. And I'm not talking about a spot starter. I'm talking about, let me find a way to get Joe Mixon out of this. But, that one's going to be a little tricky. I think I just went a little too high there. But maybe I can go get James Conner on a team that doesn't have it. I don't even care if I got to put something on top of JSN.
I'm
I
looking
want
at the
that.
Browns right now. Ford might be a great little piece.
Sign me up. I'm doing that all day. I think I can get Ford and a piece for JSN, but even if it's
Yeah.
just straight up, I don't care. But I'm gonna want, I don't even care if it's a fourth or fifth. I want it. Um, I
Mm.
want my liquidity. I'm telling you, I get trades done because of my liquidity. It sucks not having that. Um, Look at Tyler Lockett.
Weird,
You
right?
know, I, I don't know how he was the two. He was the two. Um, Look, if you're on a win now team, you might want to think about adding him if you need a spot starter right now. I don't know if this will be a year end thing, but maybe he'll get some points. He's a little banged up, but Why not? Those are the type. That's what liquidity's for. Go buy vets for a couple starts. I mean, if you've got injuries, you got to find replacement somewhere, and he's a very cheap replacement.
How do you sound? How does it sound to you? How does Okay, well, better yet, do you think this is fair? Locking in a third for Shaheed. Do you think like that is something like? Would you much rather have the Shaheed side, or do you think that's a little more fair? Because that's probably something I would actually want to do if I want to acquire Raheem Shaheed. I think that's the play I would do.
I think Lockett's too old to acquire Shaheed.
You think? Okay, all right. Well,
I think he's a little too old because we didn't think he had any gas going into this season. I don't know if he. I would look to buy. I wouldn't look at. I don't know if I could turn him in. Maybe I could turn him into a different vet. Um, let me. I'll think about that as we're going through the pod. Let me get back to Tyler Lockett. We'll figure out a trade, but I would try to be Christian Watson and I'll
mm.
send you Christian Watson. You give me Tyler Lockett in a second. I want that trade, something like that. You know what? Find a serviceable piece, and I don't care about Christian Watson. You know that. Um, something like that.
Mm.
Something like that. All right. Giants Commanders poop game of the week. Quite possibly. So Daniel Jones looks like crap. Malik Neighbors doesn't know what's going on in the backfield with Daniel Jones, which I love that a rookie's already calling him out. Um, they're better days ahead. They're better days ahead. You know what? Obviously, I'm
Malik.
freaking out. Don't get me wrong. There's better days ahead. I don't believe Daniel Jones is going to look that bad for the next 4 weeks and then get benched for Drew Lock. I don't know if that's going to happen because I honestly think they'll just ride Daniel Jones out to the 101 next year at that point. Who cares if he gets injured? Maybe he has a couple good games and you can trade him. But I do think you need to go get Malik Neighbors on your team. That's more redraft oriented. His price didn't change, maybe a little bit in Dynasty, but not enough that he got cheaper. JD5 looked good. Brian Robinson looked great. You might want to go acquire Brian Robinson. Um, yeah, go acquire Brian Robinson.
Dude.
But the receivers, what are you doing with the receivers? On both sides.
Okay, well, I don't want any. Okay, if I'm really trying to sit here and figure out what is my rank. Okay, in redraft, I am probably interested in Malik, but that's as far as it goes. As far as any giant, even the running backs. But
You're not falling for Wandell Robinson's 12 targets? I'm not.
no sir, no sir. I do not like Daniel Jones. I just God, he looks so bad. You know there are videos going around of people like legitimately outside of the MetLife Stadium burning their Daniel Jones jerseys. It's crazy. It's so disrespectful too, but I feel them at the same time. Dude, I want to talk about my boy Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels did the one thing that I was actually did not want. And his value was kind of solely based fantasy wise on his running. I have seen so many games of him with high passing yards. Obviously this is in college and this is in LSU, so I understand the difference, but he had high passing yards, high running yards. I wanted him to be both, right? I wanted him to basically be a smarter K1. I'm not seeing that. I guess it is week one, but I'm starting to get a little nervous. I mean, of course all the running that he's forced to do because his O line is complete garbage is I'm just predicting injury a lot sooner than I'd like, and I don't know. This is not the life I wanted for the man. This just isn't. So when we look at Terry McLaurin, I mean, God, was I excited for him because I genuinely thought Jaden Daniels would be able to pass, but with his freaking offensive line and just with his, it's starting to look like he really does have like a run first type of mentality, and I didn't want that. I really didn't. This was not why I made him a my G.
Well, that boy needs to keep his helmet on first and foremost.
My goodness, dude, it's
That's the
really
biggest
freaking me
thing.
out.
That dude, I've never seen that happen, especially on someone that you're worried about getting banged up. But yeah, if I am a Terry McLaurin owner, I am finding a creative way to get out of Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would figure it out roster construction if I'm going to try to tier up or just take a discount on him. But he's getting a little bit older, And if you listen to what the entire offseason was with Brandon Ayuk, the Washington Commanders are making it very clear that they were trying to get a wide receiver one. That doesn't speak loudly for Terry McLaurin that he's a wide receiver one, because if they thought they had one, they would be trying to complement him, not trying to upgrade from him. So yeah, JD5 will be just fine. That boy's going to get a lot of rushing yards, and he'll figure it out. He'll get passing yards. He'll figure it out. I'm all in on him. Find a way to go buy him. He's going to be just fine for Dynasty for a very
Yeah,
long time.
yeah.
He knows how to throw the ball. He's not a rich. He knows how to throw the football.
You're right.
But
Okay, I'll chill out.
yeah,
But man, that's not the debut I wanted. I'm just gonna be honest.
yeah. By the way, that Seahawks Patriots game has an implied point total at 38 and a half, which is the lowest of the week. So that will tell you everything why we just said pretty much be done.
After that game,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. Now the second lowest implied point total is 39 and a half for the Chargers and Panthers. Look at if I could find a way not to start one single player, and here I would, except a running back by your choice because of how you design. If you got Gus Edwards, you're probably plugging him in because you have to. If you've got J.K. Dobbins, you're plugging him in because you have to. I like the way
Probably
J.K.
you're probably starting
Yeah,
JK with a smile, honestly.
you probably are. Actually, it's not going to feel good. You're going to feel confident about it, but it's still not going to feel good. I mean, they didn't move the ball well. J.K. had a couple big runs, but man, he was explosive into the hole, and the gas tank just ran. Each one of those plays, I was like, oh my gosh, he can't run anymore.
Oh, see, I hate to see it. Oh man.
Yeah. But you know what they're going to do. The offensive coordinator that had them both in Baltimore, I forget his name,
Hmm.
but he's going to end up right as we get on J.K. Dobbins. Boom, Gus Edwards from the 2 yard line, 2 touchdowns. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But other than that, Smitty, do you want to talk about this game at all? I'd like to just move on and not even talk about it. It's just
I want to see more
trash.
from Leggett. That's all.
Yeah.
And
Um,
Lad. I want to see more from Lad and Leggett. I just want to see more rookie action because I'm not going to take this game seriously.
Yeah. If you're in a rebuild mode, I would say Justin Herbert, I don't think will ever be as cheap as he is right now,
Oh,
especially next year. You might want to look at flipping, even if it's in the same tier to get points off your bench. But you can probably take pieces and move up to him. I think if a manager thought they were going to win with him this year, they'd be open to someone that's probably going to produce a little bit more. Browns Jaguars. Starting Jay Ford. I don't want to start Amari Cooper, but I probably have to. I'm firing in Brian Thomas Jr. Travis Etienne doesn't scare me. I get what happened with Tank Bigsby. You know what? He had a fumble. He would have 2 touchdowns, and you'd be, really happy you had a top 8 running back that week. I'm firing him in there. Um, Superflex, you got to start Trevor Lawrence. I doubt he's your third. If he is, you probably have better options. But I really liked what I saw from the Jaguars, even though we didn't see necessarily the fantasy points. I liked what he saw. Brian Thomas Jr. He looked like the one on the field, and
Sure did.
that makes me very happy. I've been saying that.
Yeah, and it makes me so sad for Kirk. I mean, goodness. Oh, you know what? I love Kirk, right? But I felt really worse for Evan Ingram. Is this not happening for him this year? Is it? I mean, I know it's week 1 and I am overreacting, but I am not seeing better days ahead, especially not against the Browns defense, which, oh my God. I mean, if we're gonna talk about the Browns, I'm I'm calling for Jameis. I'm ready for him. I want to see some W eating action because I can't stand Watson, bro.
So knick knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone time. Are you kidding me? I want to see that so bad.
Because
I can't stand Deshaun Watson. I didn't like him as a person. We're not getting into politics on this show, but I just don't like him. I love Jameis Winston. And you know what? I want to see him do the 30 interceptions and 30 touchdown year all over again. That was the Godwin to the moon year, dude.
dude, you know what? You remember how like literally last year people bought into the whole Joe Flacco thing. It's gonna be even better when Jameis arrives. Like, what is Watson's deal? Like, I don't understand why he sucks so much. I mean, I'm really, and he's not even like the worst quarterback, right? Like, because we got Bryce Young, we got the Raiders quarterbacks, but I'm just maybe honestly, maybe it's an emotional thing where I'm just like adding all his little personal stuff to his play and just thinking he's garbage. But either way, I hate this offense right now. I really do. So as soon as we can switch to Jameis, Jameis might make things worse. Maybe I'm out until I see Jameis. That's it.
The only takeaway that I had from that game,
Hmm.
I understand David Njoku got injured.
Oh my
You
goodness,
need
David.
to go by David Njoku. David Njoku, if he stayed healthy, was going to get 15 targets in that game. He is there underneath. If you're in a tight end premium, he has tight end one potential right now
Sure.
with the way they ran that offense in week one. I know he's going to be down. So, maybe you can buy the injury dip on him, but um, I think that sexy man can do it, dude. So I want him on my team, and I prefer him rest of year over Brock Bowers, or not Brock Bowers. I'm sorry, I prefer him rest of year over Dalton Kincaid.
Oh my God, that might be even crazier, but all right. Just dude, the David.
Dalton Kincaid was only in 50% of the snaps tonight. He is not in the football game when they run the ball. Dawson
That's a
Knox
fact.
is in.
That's a fact. Whoa.
If they're up, this is not going to be a good year for Kincaid. He'll be just fine. He might not get to where you drafted him in that side of it, but you're gonna put him in your lineup and he'll do better than he's done the last couple of weeks and he'll be just fine. But I think David Njoku can take you to the next level in weeks with 10, literally 10 catch games, like 70 yards, 10 catches in a tight end premium. Maybe he gets one, maybe he doesn't. You're just hell yes. Like David Njoku is the real deal. All right, we got 5 minutes left, Smitty. We ran a little bit over. What game you want to talk about, and we'll get out of here. We're not going to get through them all. We got through as many as you can, as we could.
Okay, let's do Bengals Chiefs. Bengals have a Joe Mixon size problem. I understand that Moss is their guy, and that's great, but he does not look. I'm not even excited for Moss. I'm fortunately a little bit out on Chase Brown, and I mean I cannot wait to see the Bengals when T Higgins is back, but. I'm starting to wonder, do they also have a Tyler Boyd problem? Because I like Yoshi Voss, of course, but I don't know. This offense is not it yet. This offense is not it. I mean, goodness gracious, I'm looking about tearing down from Burrow. Just upset, really. I'm upset.
Yeah. My takeaway is all right, T. Higgins is really burning me right now.
Oh,
I love T. Higgins, but he can't stay healthy. It's always a hamstring injury, and it's like it's a gradual thing. Every single year, it's a hamstring. Scared. I'm scared. I want Jamar Chase. Um, Maybe you could find an owner that's like, if you get an owner that's scared, I say I'm scared. I'm not selling T under his value, but if you find that manager, you better go get him because T Higgins, when he plays, is elite. I want Zach Moss. I know you don't. I want Zach Moss. That just wasn't a good week. I don't think I don't think Zach Moss is a league winner, but I think I'll probably have a league winner on my team that he's going to complement. That's why I want Zach Moss. And you know what? If you get 10 good games out of him the rest of the year, maybe 8 or 10 games, I think you'll be happy. Um, I don't know what to do with Joe Burrow because I've made an argument for the last year that I would rather have Brock Purdy than Joe Burrow. And
yeah,
is
you're
that
looking
the
like
tear
a
down
champions for that
that you're
now.
thinking about making?
I mean, yeah, 100%. Honestly, 100%. I mean, goodness gracious, it's like a tale of two different offenses. One that's actually efficient, and one that thinks it is. Goodness gracious, yeah, I'd much rather have Purdy.
I don't think someone's going to trade Jordan Love for Burrow. I don't think you're going to get a quarterback like that. You're not getting Stroud. So I mean, it's like, where else are you going? But
Right.
man, Joe Burrow's sliding down. When he plays good, if he has a season, he can be MVP. But he's a passing quarterback that's going to rely on passing touchdowns. And we know how hard it is to throw 35 touchdowns.
Hmm.
There's just going to be years you get 28, 29. And if that's the case, Joe Burrow, it's not going to be good enough. And I just make the bet on Brock Purdy. I would rather Brock Purdy because I hope I can get a piece and something or figure it out. But you know me, I've been saying it for a very long time.
Yeah, honestly, it's just one of my favorite pieces of your advice that just took me forever to accept. But here we are.
Sorry, sometimes it does. Chiefs all in, man. I mean, what are you going to do? Who are you sitting? And I look. We made a trade today. I traded Dalton, or I got called Dalton Kincaid for X Worthy in a league. I thought that was a great trade for both of us, but it came with risk for both of us. Dalton Kincaid looked like crap week one, and X Worthy only got 3 touches, but he got 2 touchdowns. So it's coming with risk on volume for both of us with it. Um, but I think you got to bet on 1 touchdown to the house, right?
Yeah, I really feel like he can average. a touchdown, and I know that's so hopeful, right? It is, but he's in the right offense, and he's doing the right things.
Yeah. Pacheco's a dog starting him. This defense sucks for the Bengals.
Be
I
a
think it sucks.
disgusting little game. This is going to be the blowout I thought. Yeah, this is a blowout.
I want to talk about Travis Kelsey.
Oh yes, I'm in.
I'm very worried.
Oh, you know what's so funny? I wasn't. I was not. I didn't really enjoy what he was doing in the Super Bowl. I really didn't even enjoy what he was doing in the playoffs last year. So throughout the offseason, I was not in, but something just told me, man, this offense loves Kelsey. Like what he does for it is fantastic. And then we see like these weird, crazy plays in the preseason. I'm like, oh my goodness, Travis Kelsey is gonna be the one. But then here goes Rasheed Rice being the actual one, and that's really hurting Kelsey. And then oh my goodness, the emergence of X Worthy. Yeah, I see you. I see your concern. I really do.
Hollywood's coming back.
Oh,
Travis Kelsey's getting older. I don't own any shares of Travis Kelsey at this point. Um, maybe I'm biased on what I saw last week, but I'm definitely worried about it. All my shares of Travis Kelsey were dumped for Isaiah. Actually, the majority of them started with Isaiah Likely and a piece. I got first in some leagues, second in other leagues. Like that was where I wanted to tear down because of my belief in Isaiah Likely. I would still try to be doing that because whether or not you believe Isaiah Likely is, most people think Mark Andrews is still going to be the one. I've been saying he's the backup tight end for the Baltimore Ravens for a very long time. But regardless, moving forward, it does look like there's a future path for Isaiah Likely to be there a very long time with Lamar.
yes.
So I look at that trade. You know what? We need to talk about one other team before we leave, and we're going to be an hour and 15. We got 4 minutes. Atlanta Falcons, hit me with it. Kirk Cousins cannot move in the pocket, and that is a very big issue.
Yeah, this is not what I wanted. I was dangerously close to making Kirk Cousins a my G, and thankful I didn't. I'm thankful I didn't because he looks. It doesn't. I mean, he doesn't entirely look healthy. If I'm being honest, he definitely don't look confident. I mean, this sucks because I was so in on Drake London. If you have a first and you need a quarterback, throw that 2025 first on Michael Penix Jr. and just wait because it seems to be sooner than later. But again, we don't know. But if I was the Falcons, if I was the Falcons coaches and had the staff and all that, I'm not. I don't have the patience for this type of play.
Yeah, there'll be better days, but I don't know if Kirk Cousins is going to be able to move around enough to have that offense to be elite like we thought.
Mm-hmm.
And those windows we talk about, Smitty, I talked about all off season. What if Drake London's not the guy we think he is? What if he's the guy we've seen? And I talked about using him to tear up. I did it a lot. I did it in a lot of leagues. Um, he got you to the Chases. He got you to the Sun Gods. He got you to the Jeffersons. If you had enough arsenal to throw it in there with liquidity, he got you there. I don't know if he's getting you there anymore.
Mm. I I might agree. I might agree. It's just I gotta see. I gotta see how he works with Penix before I can really pull that trigger. But it's a good move. It's a good move. I
That'll be 4 years,
wish
Smitty. That'll be 4 years of, well, Drake London could be so good.
it.
Drake London could be so good. Now he's getting a new quarterback. Now he's got a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
The reality is, Drake London just dropped out of the top 12 dynasty assets as wide receiver very, very quickly, while someone like Jaden Reed just rose right up in there. Um, you can't miss windows. Listen to this pod, write this down, look at it next year during the offseason, and remind yourself that when aging quarterbacks switch teams, we always think they're going to be better, i.e., Russell Wilson, what we might see out of Kirk Cousins. We've seen this story so many times. You want to come at me, you want to send me a DM. Tom Brady won a Super Bowl with the Bucks. Yes, Tom Brady is the best quarterback that's ever played a game of football as of right now. It'll probably be Patrick Mahomes at the end. So get out of here with that. It can happen. Kirk Cousins is not that guy.
I fully agree. Just complete cosign.
All right, we hit an hour and 14. What do you want to say to our listeners before we get out of here?
Um, Hey, Justin Fields week 2. I'm excited to see how that goes. I feel good about it, but we'll see. Shout out to that.
30 seconds. Answer me this. If Tua's out for the rest of the season or he retires because of a concussion issue, do they go trade for Russell Wilson?
Oh, disgusting. No, they wouldn't. No, no, they wouldn't. Should they? Maybe, but they won't.
Yeah. Add Mike White onto your team just in case they try to go trade for me. Even they said he wasn't the backup. Skylar Thompson isn't the answer. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll try to keep you updated. Sorry we missed a couple of the games. Cheers.